What is up, y'all? Will here at Schedule Fly. This episode is with Shawn and Abby at Windfall Brewing in Denver, Colorado. And what a fun time I had with these two. This is a really unique, cool place. They opened their doors December of 2021. This business is a dream for them. And they've been working in hospitality for a long time. Shawn's been a lifer. Been busting dishes since he was washing dishes, I think, at 13. And here, several decades later, he's opening his first place, and it's one heck of a place. So Windfall, if you ever been to a Rock Bottom brewery, it's in a former Rock Bottom brewery. It's a big space, right? They brew their own beer. They have very high-end food. And they have a bunch of pinball machines and some cool arcade games. The pinball machines are really awesome. They're all iconic pinball machines. These are ones that you don't find anywhere. Very rare that you find them anywhere out in the public. They're typically in some ice basement. Check out the Windfall Brewing website, and you can see what games they have. If I had I had to leave and come up to where I am now in Idaho Springs to do another podcast. If I'd had the time, I would have stuck around for hours playing pinball. It looks so much fun. And they're getting a Foo Fighters pinball machine. So I'm going to have to come back to this place because I love the Foo Fighters, and I saw that they're going to have a Foo Fighters pinball machine. I guess it's out, and they literally told me it's coming like in the next week or two. So I got to go back to this place, which will be fine because it's a fun place, excellent food, great beer, and great people. Great people, great people. That's such a key to this, isn't it, y'all, with great hospitality. And Shawn and Abby just emanate hospitality, and it just spreads throughout this whole place, throughout their whole staff. And, you know, when you do things for the right intentions and for the right reasons, and you're authentic, and you're kind, and you're caring, and you really are those things, which Shawn and Abby clearly are, then you're going to wind up with great people on your team because they want to work for people like you. And that's what's happening here. And this place is going to crush it. You can tell they're already doing really well. They're going to keep doing really well because they're good people. And that is the crux of what great hospitality is. In 16 years of doing this, if I've learned anything, it's that. So, cool episode, great couple, love them both. So glad to have had a chance to meet them and enjoy this conversation. But before you do, a word from our sponsor, Pop Menu. Pop Menu is a new partner of Schedule Fly, and we're happy to be their partner. We have a lot of very happy mutual customers. Pop Menu is all about making your day easier and your sales bigger. They will simplify your marketing operations, bring in more guests, capture customer data for personalized remarketing to keep them coming back. With one super simple to use platform that integrates with most point of sales like Toast and Square and a number of others, Pop Menu starts with a beautifully designed, easy to update, interactive menu that transforms the guest experience online. It includes a brand new website that's optimized for search engines like Google for no additional cost, automated digital marketing, online ordering and waitlisting, and you'll never miss another call with their AI answering solution that costs as little as 47 cents an hour, plus so much more. There is a link to Pop Menu in the show notes. I'll say this, that's what they like me to say. I'll say that we have a lot of mutual customers with Schedule Fly and Pop Menu. I've talked to those customers, or I've talked to a lot of them. They say great product, great customer service, great results, great people. So check them out, Pop Menu, and check out this episode, Windfall Brewing. Really cool, really fun. Can't wait to go back. Y'all have a good one. More episodes coming soon. See ya.
All right, we're going to make this work. We are recording, and I'm here at Windfall Brewing in Denver, Colorado, and I'm excited to be here, y'all. Just got off the flight, came on over here. Go ahead, y'all introduce yourselves. Abby, you first.
All right, I'm Abby Jeffers. I'm one of the owners of Windfall. And Shawn.
I'm Shawn. I'm one of the owners of Windfall too.
All right. 2 owners of Windfall. So, first, I just want to say that one of the reasons I love doing this podcast and that we love serving independent restaurants is just there's so many examples of just pure, authentic, real hospitality in the independent restaurant world. And dude, y'all offered to pick me up at the airport today.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, like that's what hospitality is all about. Like I mean, truly, I got your email. I was like, God dang, I'm not going to let them pick me up, but that was so nice of you to offer that.
You're welcome.
Where does that come from, man? I mean, most people wouldn't do that.
Well,
especially when you're in a restaurant and you're busy, like you are. You're running around here. You got your eyes on everything. You're like hustling around, like locked in. But that was really cool that you did that.
Well, thank you. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I got some good Midwestern values. And then when I had the chance, I moved down to South Carolina, and then kind of stepped up my game a little bit more in learning more hospitality down there. So that's one of the things that I like to do is, in Windfall is kind of express good hospitality. And Abby could have stayed here and did exactly what I did, running the food while I went and got you.
Yeah.
She's just as capable and she crushes it just as well. So I could take you back if you need it.
Well, okay. Well, let's start with that. What are so Midwestern values? What are good Midwestern values?
It's taking care of each other. If, for example, in this industry, if I'm walking on the floor and I don't have anything to do, I see something, help out. Even if it's not my table, if not my guest, guest experience is important. So taking care of each other. I grew up in the 70s, early 80s, and, it was common to see people walking other people across the street that couldn't make it. So growing up, seeing that kind of thing, it was kind of easy, getting into this industry and taking care of people, because it's not a hard thing to do to be nice. And that's kind of what I learned growing up in the Midwest.
When did you get into the industry?
When I was 13, started washing dishes.
Oh, man. I can't tell you how many people I do this podcast with. I asked that question. It's like I was 13, 14, washing dishes, busting tables. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. We'll get back to that. Abby, how about you? How'd you get down into hospitality?
Well, it was a later entry for me, for sure. But I went to school and got a journalism degree and just worked in newspapers for a few years and started to get tired of being depressed all the time. That was just news. I mean, luckily for a while I worked on a sports desk, so that was at least a bit of entertainment. But it wasn't for me, and, kind of the natural progression of not knowing another quote-unquote, big boy career was, okay, well, I got to do something, and work in restaurants made sense, and I fell in love real fast, and never really anticipated doing what we're doing now, but loved it well enough to stick with it for long enough for Shawn to convince me that this is what we got to do, So it just makes sense to me, my side of this whole part is more kind of in the background. I develop our menus and recipes and stuff, and definitely that's just is who I am. Like, that's my family. I mean, I'm from the South, and so there's no family gathering without at least 3 times as much food as everyone needs, as you may know. And yeah, I mean, it's like I never really would have expected it, because for a long time, just, working in customer service and in restaurants was just kind of a job that I enjoyed and was fun. But when I really kind of got to see the opportunity to feed people, not only literally with my food, but with our sense of, just warmth and, what you can really create. It means, like feeding people's hearts too, it's exactly right,
So you grew up in Charleston.
I did.
Went to Chapel Hill, got a journalism degree. Where were you working in media?
I worked at the the Durham Herald-Sun and the Greensboro News and Record.
Okay.
So newspapers that are, gosh, the News and Record I think is pretty much defunct by now. And yeah, sadly, I love the industry. I love newspapers. I still will read a newspaper when I can get a hold of one, but it just didn't quite fit who I am as a person. So luckily I got to where I am now through various weird avenues of different jobs, and pedicabing being one of them.
Did you work in restaurants in Charleston?
I actually didn't. I worked in restaurants before I left Charleston to move to go to school. So I worked in some restaurants when I was in high school.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so I kind of had a long gap, and then when we moved back out here, got a job at one of the greatest restaurants, I mean, like that I have ever been to, and sadly gone now, but worked there for 3 years in Boulder, and that sealed the deal.
So you two met, you moved to Charleston, Folly Beach.
Yeah, Folly Beach. Yep.
And you two met down there.
About a year and a half after I moved down there. Okay. Yeah.
When did you move down there?
2015.
2015. And you were down there on vacation.
Yeah, I went down there on a 5-day vacation, and on day 4 I signed a lease to a house. I was tired of living in Wisconsin, and I needed a change, so signed a lease, went back to Madison, adopted a St. Bernard. And then 2 weeks later I was down there living on the beach. That's him up on the wall. His name was Mozart. Yeah, that's our big buddy. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed away 4 years ago, so when we were designing this, one of our friends at the time was like, because this is an arcade-themed wall here.
Yeah.
So he's like, why don't we, use Mozart in the picture instead of the old duck hunting dog? So that's the duck hunting theme right there with our old St. Bernard.
With your old St. Bernard.
Yeah.
How long did Mozart live?
He was almost 8.
Okay, is that pretty common for St. Bernards?
Yeah.
Bigger dogs don't live as...
No, unfortunately not.
God, I have 3 dogs. There's like nothing worse.
No.
than a dog.
Yeah.
Nothing worse.
Yeah.
God just made me miss my 3 dogs.
Yeah, we didn't really know what we were going to do. I mean, a big dog left a big hole in our heart. And then like 3 months later, we found a Great Pyrenees who needed rescuing really bad. So we got her, Harper. She's on the other side of the wall. It's like an ode to Colorado kind of theme mural. Yeah. And there's Abby and I walking Harper along a path.
Oh, I'll go check that out when we're done. So y'all met down there in the Charleston area.
Mm-hmm.
And you were done working.
Yeah, at that point I wasn't even in restaurants. I mean, I was kind of, I don't want to call it floundering. I was having a great time, but not really, just sort of, I guess, in my head gradually figuring out what the heck I was going to do with my life once I left the newspaper world. And the restaurant scene in Charleston is, as I'm sure you know, is absolutely, top notch. Some of the best food in the country. And so I'd love to eat at those places. I was making pretty decent cash in the job I was doing, and I treated myself to some amazing experiences there. And, so maybe that sort of also was part of the development of me knowing that I wanted to be a part of something like this someday.
And then you're down there 4 days, you're like, I'm staying.
Mm-hmm.
So you go so you come back, and then where did you started working in restaurants there?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been bartending, managing my whole life pretty much. Yeah, so I got a job working at this place called Locklear's on the pier. Okay. Nice, cool little restaurant. Yeah, on Folly Beach. Yeah, on the pier. And actually for about a year, I worked there for 2 years, but for the first year I put together a plan to kind of try to do my own thing down there. It didn't work out, and then 2 months later I met Abby. It was really funny quick story is Abby she did pedicab, and I got a job bartending at this really nice place called Victor Social Club downtown Charleston, sandwiched in between 2 really high-end restaurants. I'd be bartending, and people, they'd want to, away around Charleston. So I texted Abby, like, got some people. She'd show up to the bar, just crushing pedicab, show up like, all right, let's go. It's all right. send these people off on their way. And
Take them on a post-dinner tour.
Yeah. So it was a really nice experience. Like, when we got together, when we got together, and I had this job, she had this job, and I gave them a really good experience at the bar, and then followed up. Abby would give them a really good experience, taking them all over. That when we did that, and that was for about 6 months. It was really cool, and it was one of the things I thought of when we talked about opening this. So we already had that connection on knowing the treatment people want, and how to take care of them if we were have our own place. So really liked kind of that experience, and even like right now, Abby and I, we're here 7 days a week pretty much, and we know all of our regulars. We're here to meet everyone that it's the first time in, so it's very enjoyable, that's for sure.
When you all came out here, what year did you come out here?
2017.
2017. Mm-hmm. Okay. And did you all both work at Solo?
I started working at a brewery.
Okay. You were okay. Right. I read about that.
Yeah. So I was
That's where the name Windfall came from.
Right.
Because you got a windfall of support.
Yep.
Yes,
exactly.
I read that. Okay.
That's exactly right. So I started working at this brewery called Nighthawk, and I was there 3 weeks after I started working there. I became their GM, turned it around, and once it closed due to just hardships with the owners, a lot of support came my way, and I kind of went home and expressed to Abby. I was like, wow, I just had a windfall of opportunity hit me, and we talked about it, and let's open a brewery. Here we are.
What year? Now, what year was this?
2018.
Okay, so you haven't been out here that long.
No, this April 8th will be 6 years.
Right,
but when you
yeah.
decided to open this place, you had not been out here that long.
Oh no, under 2 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And that place went under, and then this was a rock
bottom.
Rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which went back. What year did they go bankrupt?
2020. 2020, they closed like 260 of the 320 locations.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's January 6, 2020, and it wasn't made public for like 5 months, almost 6 months.
Before, so this was before COVID. They were already.
Yeah, it was
Right.
in the works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you had a plan for a brewery with pinball machines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love the pinball machines.
Thank you.
That's a really cool twist.
Yeah, they're really.
Are they like, is pinball coming back in? Like, I mean, like, I could play pinball all day. I mean, is that something, like, is this a unique environment, brewery / with pinball, and obviously, as I've seen, really high-end food?
As far as the pinball community, pinball's been around this area for quite some time. And, in the Denver area, they've had a couple of places called One Up, which is an arcade bar.
Okay.
So people are kind of used to seeing, arcades and bars. But exactly what you just said at the end of, high-end food. We are very unique in the fact that we have a really nice arcade with really nice food, and a brewery that puts out 17 beers. So we are unique in that way of we've stretched the limits of what other people really haven't. Just want to open up a restaurant and don't want to kind of do other things,
Did you, so when you're putting together a plan for a place like this, how long between when you had an idea and a plan and then when you all were able to find a location, sign a lease, and get busy?
I mean, it was a roller coaster for sure, but I mean, we signed the lease to this place in June of 2021, so that's over 3 years from inception of idea to actually signing a lease. And
so 3 years from idea to, okay,
yeah,
got it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, and of course in between all that was COVID and continuing. I mean, we opened this place, it's hard to say it in the middle of COVID, but kind of was. But we were on the brink.
We were still under a mask restriction
Yeah.
when we opened.
Mm-hmm.
When did you open your doors?
December 13th, 2021.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sign a lease in June, open in December.
Yeah,
Okay.
6 months build up.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, but we looked at over half a dozen different locations. We actually were on the brink of signing a lease to a different building in February of 2020, right before COVID really actually became a serious thing. I mean, it was, people were whispering about it, talking about it a little bit, but it was, I mean, if we had acted maybe a week sooner, we would have been in a totally different place and probably would have been dead on arrival.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that year would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
To just, yeah.
Oh, not
So-
because of the location, just because of the timing.
Right,
You
just
would've
the
been trying
time.
to open-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and, kind of found this place, found a couple of other places, and had to rethink a lot of things as far as our business plan and just, what ifs as far as, if there's another shutdown, what in the world are we going to do? And trying to, lots of negotiating and getting creative with, landlords. And ultimately, this was really the place that just came together in all the correct ways for us. So.
When you're writing a plan for a place like this, how do you get numbers from rock bottom, from the land? It's, in other words, I'm always fascinated with trying to predict how many people are going to come in and out of these doors.
Mm-hmm.
There must be a variance in your plan of top line numbers and number of table. How do you plan that? I've always been fascinated with that.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, what we did is we took a look around the area. How many houses were around the area, apartments were around the area, condominiums, how many grocery stores, how many bars, restaurants, the activity. And then, also talking with, the people that, ran the mall, they would give us past numbers of what Rock Bottom did. In the mall setting, you have to report what you make because sometimes you have percentage-based rent.
Right.
So they have to know your numbers.
Yeah.
So they had numbers to show what Rock Bottom did. And so Abby and I, what we pretty much figured what we would do is we would cut that number in half and say, okay, we think we can do that in our first year. We went and talked to other restaurant owners around where this location is, talked to them about their lunches, their dinners, how everything went, how their summers went, and just kind of got an idea. This place is kind of what you would say, it's a destination mall, because you have to go, walk outside to go store to store to store.
Right.
So it kind of renders itself destination based. So if it's snowing or raining, people just don't come up here. But there are apartments and houses behind us that people, they can walk. But so those days you look and you're like, okay, I'm really not going to make that much money. So knowing that this was kind of destination based, where winter you're not going to make, as much as you would during summer, and that we just kind of lay down, what we thought we could do during the day and then at night. And we were really close in our first year prediction.
Really?
Yeah, we were
Freakishly. But honestly, I he's great. That is what we did. Those are the steps we took. But more than anything, I chalk it up to Shawn's just intuition, and I don't know, it's sort of everything just kind of manifested itself. Because we did all those numbers. We did all the math. We did all the analytics. But there was also COVID, and how could you possibly predict what's going to go down there? Yeah. And I think it was practically it just manifested itself month by month. It was kind of Shawn just saying, yeah, well, we were right. How the hell? But it was pretty darn close.
I think it was easy for me to look at the number we predicted, divide it, and see what we had to do on an average day. And then just think to myself, all the restaurants that you've worked at, bars, breweries, what do we do at, what do we do on an average? And I know night times are busier, so Abby's right to a point that with all the experience that I have had and where I have worked, Madison, Wisconsin, college town, Charleston, South Carolina, or the beach, a lot of business, a lot of customers coming through there. So I guess it was just looking at my experience and saying, this could happen in a place like this. We could be busy for dinners, and we can sell a lot of, liquor and beer. Being a brewery, we focus more on our beer, but we knew we had to get a full liquor license. That way you don't turn anyone away.
Right. Okay. So you got a full liquor license. Right.
And we have a unique program too with our bar. Our well is all from Mile High Spirits, which is located in Denver. So all of our well liquor bottles are from the same company. It's not some cheap knockoff that you pay $4.99 for, a big gallon. So we're really proud of that. We kept, we stayed local. Then we just have like 2 more bottles, a middle shelf and upper shelf. So we only have 22 bottles of liquor here.
Okay.
Nice and simple. Focus on the beer. That's where the money's at, and that's what brewery. That's what people want to come to.
Yeah. Yeah. How many brewers? How many beers do you have?
17 different beers,
Okay.
and then we also brew a ginger beer that we have on tap all year round. Ginger beer is a good drink, but then we also use it for our Moscow Mule,
Yeah. Okay.
or any mule.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I feel like to be more specific, we have 18 tap lines, one of which is always dedicated to the ginger beer, but I don't even know the number. We made over 75 different beers in our first year. There was only one that was actually always on tap, and that's the one you just enjoyed, Puppies.
Puppies.
That's
Very good.
on all the time.
Okay.
And every other line, so 16 lines, were rotated through.
Yeah,
throughout the
that's what we did for the first year. Now we have Puppies and Hop Architect, which are mainstays.
Why that or in hop? Like why those two?
Puppies just because
Is it called Puppies?
year. Everybody loves Puppies.
Yeah.
It's
Kinda
a lower
right.
alcohol content.
It's lower alcohol content, and around this area where Coors Light was invented, people like that lighter beer.
Yeah.
So we thought if we could make a really nice light beer, table ale, crusher, which I see yours is gone, so it's easy to drink, and
Yeah.
we knew that this area would support having a beer like that on tap at all times. And then the Hop Architect, we wanted to always have a consistent IPA on tap, and we named it the Hop Architect because one of our friends, he was a regular at Nighthawk Brewery, and when it was announced that they were closing, he was one of the people that came up to me and offered his services as an architect. And so for over 4 years, he gave Abby and I 4 years of pro bono work.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And so
That's a lot of money.
yeah, it's a lot of money.
He got a beer named after him.
He got a beer named after him, and it'll always be on tap.
That's awesome.
I wanted to, do that for him. We wanted to do that for him, to show our appreciation of his hard work and helping our
Heck
dream
yeah.
come true.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. So your Nighthawk's not gonna they're gonna close down, and you start telling people you have this idea for this brewery, and then so y'all raised money.
Well, what we did is we were trying to raise money in the first building that we actually were building a lease into, and then COVID hit.
Okay.
Then with this opportunity, pretty much for 7 months, I negotiated a deal with them where the mall gave us a large amount of money to do tenant improvement.
Okay.
And then we found one investor to kind of get us the rest of the way to opening our doors.
Dude, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Really? I figured you must have a long list of investors with a place like this. That's really cool.
No.
That's good negotiation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic, man. I mean, it's a big place. This is a nice build out.
One of the things that Abby and I are really proud about is not the negotiation and not where we're at, but what we've done to what the building gave us. They ran it down. They didn't clean that well. You're resting.
The floors were a little dirty.
Yeah, the floors were black. Now they're red. You're resting your arms on a table that I built.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So these tables behind you, this one in the bar area, that all look like this. Abby and I were like, trying to get our tables and chairs in place, and we're looking online, and she's like, we just really can't find a manufacturer that makes a 2-foot, a 4-foot, a 6-foot, and an 8-foot. And so she's like, why don't we build them? And so then I did.
Hey, I did all the calculations.
She did. She did all the math. She, here's where we're going to get them from. So she did it and then just put it in front of me, and I built it. So and it was really cool. I have a twin brother who he flew from South Carolina just to help me finish the tables.
Oh, he went to South Carolina too?
Well, he actually moved there when we left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where does he live?
He lives in South Carolina now.
He lives in Rock Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in Rock Hill? He's near me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
cool. Yeah.
I live in Wax. I live in Charlotte.
Oh,
South
nice.
Charlotte.
Okay. He lived in Chandler, Arizona for like 10 years. Never visited me when I went out to the beach. Never once. And then I moved, and then he moves to South Carolina. So.
Well, Rock Hill's not the beach.
No, I know.
Rock Hill?
He's not experiencing everything I did, so I'm still one up on him.
Yeah.
He might have moved to the same state I did, but no. But yeah, he kind of surprised me and showed up and helped me finish the tables off. So the lights that you see around the bar, around the booths, Abby did those.
Nice.
We painted everything. Abby helped our muralist, Misha.
That's a heck of a mural.
Yeah, it's really cool.
40. You got Galaga up there. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you find little like Easter eggs. So it's a mural, obviously it's not obvious to the listeners, but obvious to you. That it's inspired by old school arcade and in video games. So yeah.
Super Mario, Donkey Kong.
We got a little Frogger guy running across in front
Willie
of that
Nelson
Windfall.
just chilling on a rock, playing his guitar.
Because why not?
Oh, heck yeah. I love that. Are you a Willie Nelson fan?
I am a fan of Willie Nelson. Yeah.
That is really, I didn't notice that. That's really cool. I'm glad you pointed that out. That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, you see the road, that's the Frogger.
Yeah. Frogger's hard. I always struggle with
Yeah.
That's a hard game.
Up to 5, it was cool. Then past that, I was like, man, this is just not for me. Way too fast.
Galaga, though. I once missed a flight in an airport. I was on a business trip, and I had a flight home. I was single. It was before I got married. I had nothing to really get into, and I was having my best Galaga game ever. I was like, "There's another flight in an hour and a half. I'm not getting on that thing. I'm not giving this opportunity up." And I did. I had my highest score ever, and just waited for the next flight.
Dude, worth it.
I mean, yeah.
It's so funny because my kids they play all these just these modern I can't even play them. You hold a remote that's got 50 different things and there's so much going on, and they're like, "Man, you suck," and I'm like, "You're right, I do." But we went to this mountain house this winter, and it had Galaga in the basement. And my son was so pissed because I was like,
you just took it to him, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you did.
Destroying him.
And you let him know about it too, didn't you?
I totally
yes,
did.
you did.
I totally did. He was like, "Man, this is just, it seems like it's easy, but it's hard." I'm like, yeah. It's old school, baby.
Yeah, we have one in our basement, a Galaga Pac-Man. So
Those are the best. The sit-down ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are awesome. Yeah, I love all the pinball machines. There's a I just saw. I'm a Foo Fighters fan. I just saw they have a Foo Fighters pinball machine.
We have one coming.
Do you really?
We have actually 3.
It's gonna be here.
I can't believe. Well, I got to come back.
You gotta come back.
I got to come back.
And
Yeah.
and
I
as
saw that a couple months ago. I'm like, holy crap! I want to get one of those.
yeah,
That was awesome.
and as when we took a walk around the arcade, and we were going through the pins, and I was pointing out the limited collector's edition. That's another one that we're getting, a limited collector's edition. It's just the difference is there's more things, or there's more stories.
Yeah.
To the game, a little bit more creatures and all that. And so we're really looking forward to getting that in because there's a really big buzz about the Foo Fighters. Really big buzz about that game.
That's awesome. Is it
Yeah.
really? I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
saw that. I was wondering if people I personally, I was like, that was awesome, but I was curious if
Being one of the only places in the United States that has the James Bond 60th anniversary edition pinball that just came out, we've had one person from Kansas travel here, one person from Nebraska travel here, and Wyoming just to stick $10 bill into that game and play 5 games.
that's insane. Well, I was going to
Yeah.
ask you that. Do you have some badass pinball players come from all over the
We do. And after this last weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend previous, they had a pinball tournament in Texas. And one of our regulars here was there, and he put the word out like, hey, the James Bond 60th was premiered at this event, but we had it already for 10 days. And so people were able to play that game here and go then to Texas and have a little bit of more knowledge about that game than anybody else. And so they were just dropping the dime like, hey, no, I played this up in Colorado.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, right? So a couple of our guys went down there, our regulars went down there looking like ballers, like, oh, know how to play this game. Like, where'd you learn this? Well, up in Colorado. And they're like, what? So, because, they're a limited collector's edition.
Yeah.
Those games aren't out in the open air.
Yeah.
It's just the standard pinball game. These are sitting in people's basements. So we're really lucky that the owner-operator of all these games is our friend, and he wanted to really do us a solid and bring us the best of the best.
So he's your friend, so he's got, okay. I was
Yeah,
wondering how you find
he's owned his own. When I started working at Nighthawk, he had his games in there. And so I had met him, and when Nighthawk went down, him and I got together and, put together us, Abby, myself, and him put together this plan.
Yeah, so the pinball room, the arcade, and there's more than just pinballs. There's, the sit-down Pac-Man and some old school racing games and stand-up games and
Call games for the kids.
yeah,
Oh my,
exactly.
those crush it, and they crush our feet walking all over those toys.
But yeah, that's been part of this whole plan since day one. We don't want to just be a place where, we're proud of our great beer and great food, for sure. But we're not just going to be another one of those places that you can go get great beer and great food. We wanted something else, something to keep people here and just create just that much of a more special experience when you're here, So the arcade is really, it is core to our identity.
So many families. This is such a family environment. And when you think of brewery, you think of adults and maybe dogs are allowed. But, it's close to being 50-50 adults, kids.
It's interesting because, I'm having a lot of nostalgia right now because I grew up. I was born in 74.
75.
You remember back in the day, it was you would go to we would go in Charlotte to Godfather's Pizza, and they had arcade games, and you'd play arcade games while you sat down, and the parents would talk, and you'd go play, stick some quarters in there, and they'd be yelling at you the pizza's there, and you're hit your Galaga score or whatever. But you don't have that anymore. You don't see that anywhere anymore. And
They had them when I lived in Wisconsin. They had them in the Pizza Huts.
yeah,
They had
yeah.
just a little arcade room, just in the Pizza Huts.
Yep. Yeah, but it made you, it was so then as a kid, kids have a lot of influence on the parents, where are you going to go for a family dinner night or whatever. So when you got
You
the
would be amazed.
pinball machines there, I love that.
The amount of parents that tell us, our kids picked this place.
Yeah, sure.
We're like, yeah.
Yeah, and the parents are like, cool, I can drink and eat an awesome
Yeah, they're
burger.
going to be happy. We'll go.
Oh
It's fine.
yeah, the parents tell us on a daily basis how they're appreciative of Abby and I for setting this all up. Giving their kids an opportunity to go have fun while the parents can say, go have fun, and we're gonna sit here and enjoy some time by ourselves while you guys have fun.
Yeah.
It works out for everyone.
And by no means is it just kids having fun in that arcade. There's some, people of all ages. One of my favorite things is seeing, a sweet old couple get up from their table and go and play games for an hour,
awesome.
It's
That's
just,
so cool.
heck yeah.
Yeah, that 4-player Pac-Man right there, that's it'll get anyone to smile. All of a sudden, you'll just hear people screaming, and you'll look over, and there's like 4 60-year-olds chasing each other, trying to eat each other, and one of them just died, and they're all screaming.
So is it all on one screen?
Yeah, so that's a 4-way Pac-Man. So where you see, 4 knobs right there, and each one against each other, and it gives you a big maze, and you're trying to, the last one standing, pretty much.
Oh, that's really.
Oh yeah,
I've never played that.
Oh,
it's
that's why it's
I bet that's
so
fun.
it's so much
you're
fun.
eating each other.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, yeah, and
yeah.
there's the ghosts and the fruits and
ghosts
stuff
and
too.
that.
But
Okay.
when you eat the big ball or whatever, you get.
It's like an
bigger
energy ball.
Yeah, so it's a blast.
Oh.
And you will literally hear people screaming and like falling over with laughter. Like it's very entertaining.
I don't know why when we're done with this, you're gonna have another beer. Abby and I are gonna have our first beer. John behind us, he's our 4th person. I don't see why we don't play one round.
So how did y'all get connected with John? Did you know him through?
Met him through
Zolo.
through Big Red
Zolo.
F, yeah, through
Okay.
Zolo, exactly.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I had left the company pretty much when the pandemic started because Zolo closed down. Several of the other Big Red F restaurants stayed open, and Zolo did reopen. But by that point, Shawn and I were so much farther along in this process. But I found out from a few other friends who still work there that John, left and parted ways with the company to kind of do his own thing. And I didn't know what it was. We weren't like close necessarily at that point. But when we were kind of like just getting this all together, and Shawn and I, and actually another friend of ours who was kind of helping us open and also worked at Zolo for a very long time, we were all kind of like, man, like we have a plan, and like this is definitely, we know in our heads like how to do this, but like none of us have ever like really done this like from start to finish, like open a restaurant. And our buddy who worked at Zolo forever was like, why don't we call John? And I was like, heck yeah. And we called him, and turns out that what he had left Big Red F to do was to open his own consulting business. And we were like, well, imagine that. Got a new client. You don't even have to sell yourself. You're hired.
And when we had when Abby and I were working at Zolo, and before the pandemic, and John was there, we had told John, like when Nighthawk had closed, and I actually came to work at Zolo as a busser. I bussed tables for 2 years, putting the plan together, and we would tell John, and so I was like, good luck, like I wish you guys well, I hope it works out for you. And so then we called him and said, hey, so we got this spot, and we're thinking about doing this. And he came in here and he said, holy like this is really big, you guys. Like it's a 10,000 square foot building pretty much with the patio.
Yeah.
So
yeah, people are always like, this is your first
Yeah, it's a
business
freaking big.
you've
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Well, and and what I like to tell people is when they say, oh, you guys really jumped in on it. This is your first, and look how big it is. Well, okay, but if we were going to just open a brewery, and that's it, just serve beer, which those fail at an alarmingly rate.
Yeah.
Or if we were just going to open up a restaurant with nothing else, well, there's 100 of them opening, around us every other day kind of thing. So having the arcade, so you need space for all that, So I don't really look at this and say, oh, it was overwhelming. I looked at like, we needed all the space. If we wanted to create what we did. Can't have an arcade that's 100 square feet, 10 by 10. Only 5 people will be able to go in there and play it, so when the day comes, our next one will be a lot bigger, so we can do more.
Wow.
And it gives everyone an opportunity to just not think of that place as like, I'm just going to go get a beer, and go get a burger. No, you can go get a great beer, a great burger, ground beef, Colorado raised, and then come play some great games.
And most nights of the week, too, we've got something else going on. I mean, tonight, music video bingo. Wednesday night, our third busiest night of the week, sometimes rivals a busy Friday because our trivia night is absolutely wild. Like, people will have pushing 30 teams of people playing trivia on a
Really?
Wednesday
Yeah,
night.
we're averaging 25 right now. It's really good. And Friday we have karaoke. We have a total of 17 TVs, 4 out on the patio, 3 in this dining area, 10 around the whole bar area. So, Colorado's a really good sports team or sports town. And the Avs last year winning it all, we just happened to open when they got in the playoffs, and we waited until round 3. And when round 3 came, we gave out free shots of apple pie for every goal.
So Shawn makes this magical concoction called an apple pie shot, and it's just his idea. Why don't we give out a free shot? I mean, it does actually have Everclear in it, but we calculated it's like 13.5%. So it's not going to, it's not going to get anybody too wild. But I was so scared. The first night that we debuted, hey, everybody gets a free shot on the first goal or for every Avs goal. I was actually home that night working on some other stuff, but I was paying attention to the game, and the Avs scored 8 goals.
And so we gave out 240 shots that night.
Holy cow.
But now, this is what is really exciting about it. So 8 goals, 240 shots. When they won the Stanley Cup, they scored 2 goals, and we gave out 250 shots. So we went from 30 people participating, taking 8 shots each, to 125 people in here.
Taking 2 shots.
So we blew up during the playoffs as like a sports bar in a way too.
Place to go watch.
Right. And so there's one more thing that we've done to this place that makes people want to come here, because you don't have to drive downtown Denver, try to find parking somewhere, deal with kind of the mischief that goes on down there. You can come right here and sit anywhere in this building, and you have TVs in front of you.
Y'all are here most days?
Oh yeah,
8 days.
8 days a week.
8 days.
Do you live nearby?
About 15, 18-ish minutes. Not too bad.
Okay.
Far enough away that we can say, no, we won't be there for about a half hour to an hour.
Figure it out.
Well, okay. It's interesting. The reason I asked that is, before we got started here, we're having some audio issues and all that. You were locked in. You were hustling around. You were taking food out. And Abby, when you sat down, she said, you got to trust the process and the systems that you put in place.
Mm-hmm. I trust every system and process. I also really, really enjoy what we've done.
Yeah.
And
you just love it.
I do love this.
Dude,
We're doing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I get so much joy taking. And here's the other thing, though, that when I say this to you, you're going to understand. The food that I deliver to the tables, she made it.
Yeah.
Not like actually like she's back there slaving away or anything. It was her recipe.
Yeah.
So, it went like our St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Her mother was here, and Abby and her mom got to create our St. Patty's menu, and then they sat back there and made it. And so, I'm delivering dishes that my fiance and my future mother-in-law are back there prepping. It's their recipes. They're prepping it. People, our cooks are, executing it. But this is all them.
Yeah.
And so the look on people's faces when they get the food, and then I go back and I ask them how it was. And, this is the best, like brunches, biscuits and gravy I've ever had. Our on St. Patty's Day, our shepherd's pie, amazing. Absolutely. And everybody that ate it, like, this is the best shepherd's pie I ever had. And immediately goosebumps, because, like, I know where that was just made,
I spent a really long time on that. It was worth it.
But it's so special, we're the creators of the food menu, too. The cheese curds. That's my recipe.
The cheese what?
The cheese curds.
Mm.
We get our cheese curds from a small farm in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And we use our beer puppies in the batter. I have 4 or 5 things on the menu that mine. Everything else is pretty much Abby's. And so it's a very proud, a lot of pride goes into walking out there and dropping off food. I love it, It excites me to make people happy and, for people to talk good about what she's done.
You found what you were meant to do. I can tell it. I can just look at y'all and listen to y'all and tell. I mean, this is an amazing thing. It's really cool to see.
Thank you.
When are you getting married?
Who knows? Sean insists that I put a ring on it. Oh, okay.
We've only been engaged for almost 6 years. So for people that want us to rush, want us to rush into it.
I mean, okay, Sean, would you rather us have put our thoughts and energy into planning a wedding or planning this?
So we get engaged out here on horseback, and we go back to our we go back to our beach house, and she's like, I want to move. Where do you want to move? Colorado. I'm like, oh, Abby, you know how many people go on vacation and they want to move there? And she's like, you did? I was like, you're right. You're absolutely. I stuck my foot.
Did, right?
I stuck my foot so far in my mouth when I said. I didn't even think about it when I just said it.
That's
so
freaking hilarious.
so, but then we move out here, and it was like a little over a year actually that Nighthawk had happened, and so it was probably 13 months, 15 months, because we moved out, or 14. We moved out in April, and then in May, next May, is when Nighthawk closed. And it was that moment that we started planning the brewery.
Yeah.
And so we'd only been out here a little over, a year after we were like, all right, we're going to turn our life upside down and we're going to try to open up this huge place. So we put a lot of focus on not our marriage, but on our future.
I got you.
And
Good.
This will actually, I think what we've done is set ourselves up to actually have the kind of wedding that we really want. We can take some time off. We can sit here and bust our butts for a while and make sure that we can also put a lot more money into doing, what we want for our wedding and our honeymoon.
Doing it right. Yep.
You agree with that, huh?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a southern? Is there any southern flair in the menu?
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh yes,
for sure. Especially the brunch menu. So my shrimp and grits.
Okay,
recipe.
I was gonna. That was my next question. Is do you have shrimp and grits?
Oh, we do.
I was like, if
yeah.
you're from Charleston, and you got.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was very protective of my recipes in the beginning. So we originally had shrimp and grits on the brunch menu, so just Saturdays and Sundays, and of course, I make biscuits and we do biscuits and gravy. So for like months after we started our brunch menu, I was coming in every Saturday and Sunday morning making our gravy, our grits, our biscuits, our breakfast sausage from scratch, our quiches. We have a rotating quiche. Yeah, so I was coming in very early on Saturday and Sunday mornings and cranking all those out. Finally, I allowed myself to let our very, very talented prep cooks start making those recipes on their own. However, I still make the biscuits. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, I make the biscuits.
They're so good.
Yeah, those are my babies. But yeah, and even on our regular menu, we have a southern buffalo chicken sandwich that has pimento cheese on it. That's really popular.
Have you? Obviously, yeah. From the south, you've had pimento cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people up here have not, though.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that try that sandwich and they're like, "This cheese." I'm like, "Yeah, you've never had this before." Like, no. I'm like, yeah. It's homemade, and that.
I mean, I didn't know until I started when I got older and started traveling. I just thought pimento cheese was something everybody had everywhere. Like,
I never had it in Wisconsin until I moved down to South Carolina.
Pauly's Island pimento chease.
Oh yeah, you can buy it out here too.
Really?
Yeah.
You see his face.
Yeah. They have it in the I think Safeway and King Soopers and in the grocery stores. Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
My mom was from Georgetown.
Oh, cool.
We grew up going to Pauly's.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's cool.
I was just down in Charleston a couple weeks ago. We got a lot of customers down there. So many guys. It's amazing how many good restaurants are in Charleston. Yeah. It's just everywhere you turn.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Crazy. Neat town. Crowded town now. A lot of growth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really one of the only things that I think will keep me away from there is just the growth. I mean, it's just staggering. And,
they're just stacking people on top of each other down there.
Oh, yeah.
They're stacking and they're spread. I mean, like Goose Creek is like really, like I went on the way down to Charleston a few weeks. I mean, I went down to do some episodes with some customers. And the first place I was stopping was a brewery in Goose Creek.
What?
And I get off of the interstate 26, and it's like, why is there just a long line of cars? And I was like, maybe there's a wreck or there's something.
Yeah.
No, it was just afternoon traffic in Goose Creek. Like, I mean, can you imagine?
I remember, because I grew up actually in Mount Pleasant, and like, I remember the Walmart. There's a Walmart that maybe is still there, but like in my little maybe youngster elementary school kid head, that Walmart was like the edge of town, and after that was like kind of where you had like literally still like the stalls with like people selling sweetgrass baskets and stuff, and it was like amazing, and like, but it was just after that nothing. And then I'm not exaggerating when I say that where the spot where that Walmart was probably not, I mean, it may still be there, but there's another 20 to 25 miles of very thick development. Like, it has been long since grown up. And, like, you look on a map, you know, it'll have the little gray names of, like, the, not, like, maybe specifically towns, but sort of, like, names of different, like, neighborhoods. There's Mount Pleasant and Mount Pleasant North, which is, like, past where the Wando was, which when they opened the new Wando, which was my high school, like, I felt like I was driving to Georgetown, you know?
Yep.
And now there's so much even past where that is. It's just wild.
Yep. No, do your folks still live there?
No, actually, my mom, I have some family still in Charleston, but my mom, my dad passed away when I was a teenager, and my mom she lives in the mountains in North Carolina. She lives about an hour north of Burnsville, which is like halfway between Asheville and Johnson City.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's out there.
Yeah.
I bet it's pretty.
It's gorgeous.
I bet it's really pretty out there.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good
very
place.
Moist, though. Like,
right.
Everything's damp. But, yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful country.
Yeah, it's lovely.
What did you, working for Zola, and y'all know Dave. Mm-hmm. Dave's got such a great reputation. He's just got a big family tree of people that have been successful in the business. What did you learn from working with Big Red Eye?
Oh, tons. I mean, I feel like I had a lot more, like we've already described, way less experience in the restaurants, in general than Shawn. But I'm so grateful that Zola was the place I landed, because it just aligned so well with what I knew to be kind of my core values of like how to treat people, but I just never really realized that the word for that was hospitality, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
And you just learn how to treat people. And Dave's amazing. He's, he doesn't like he's present. Like, even if it's not physically, like, he sends out these emails once a week or once every 2 weeks or something to all his 700 plus, 800 plus staff, just talking about hospitality, talking about how to just be in the mindset of like anticipating how to make somebody's day better.
Yeah.
Like looking for little things, little ways that you can just make a little difference, just put a smile on someone's face, you know? Whether that's from a server's point of view of really knowing the menu inside and out and knowing exactly how to talk to somebody who might be having a hard time figuring out what they want to eat, or have a really, restrictive list of allergies, and can help them and make them not feel like a jerk for saying, I want to eat here, but I can't,
right.
That kind of thing. Like, that always really stuck with me, because, everybody likes to smile, and when you can make someone smile, like, that's just a little, like, it's like bonus points you added to their day,
Yeah.
It's just like, that means a lot when it adds up. And so that really is, I feel like, the Big Red F, like, just whole identity really is making a difference in someone's day or even afternoon. Like, just the littlest thing goes a lot longer or a lot farther than you may realize.
It's like, how would you treat people if they were in your home? Mm-hmm. And you wanted them to have a good time, and they do it. I stay there with Dave and Dan, and it's like they're she's making coffee, he's cooking something up. So I mean, it's just constantly just like looking out for just the little things, and they do it so subtly, and it's like, you know, but they're all, it's amazing. Well, they do a great job with that, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to be there. But clearly y'all do a wonderful job of that here. I mean, I just this is a neat place. This is an amazing place, y'all.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all doing this. I mean, again, you offered to pick me up at the airport. You just don't get that, man. And you guys are wired for it. Now, finding people that have that same wiring is probably not always the easiest thing in the world.
It's really interesting because our staff is, I mean, I could not fathom a better staff. And truly, I mean, we've been, you know, we're about a year and 4 months-ish now. You know, that there have been people who haven't quite, like, I don't know, bought in is a weird way to put it, but haven't quite, you know, fit with what we're doing. I mean, we do a full house tip share. We focus on everybody helps everybody no matter what. And some people, you know, that just didn't work quite for them. But we got to the point where right now, for the past several months, honestly, our turnover is, I mean, practically nil, which is
congrats.
Unheard
awesome.
of. I mean, the kitchen is always going to be a little higher turnover than the front, but I mean, yeah, like the people who work here and who really feel what we're doing and they want to be a part of it. And
right now there's 3 people on the floor that have been here since we opened our doors.
That's amazing.
This guy walking here right now, his name's Derek. He's a buddy of mine. We worked together at West End Tavern, which is one of Dave's places.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah, right. So Derek and I worked there together. I was his busser.
Really?
Yeah. He was a server and busser, but when it was nights when he would serve and I would bus his tables, and he would hear about this and say, Shawn, if you ever open that, I would work for you. And so here he is. He's been here since day one.
yeah, we have about 45 to 50 on our payroll at any given time, and I think 8 of them have been
10
here since day one. No, okay.
How do you
Which is great.
do y'all do how do you deal with your cash, like for tips? Like do you put all their tips on their paychecks, or do you tip them out daily, or
It's a weekly tip share.
weekly tip share? So it goes on their pay stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So everyone turns in all the cash tips, and we distribute it equally, like per hour. And there's different percentages of what like specific job titles get, but the kitchen gets a share of the tips, and it's a decent one too. But it really works for us. Like, and you know, I think we've had 2, maybe 3 people who left because it's, you know, they were like lifelong servers or bartenders or whatever, and they were just uncomfortable kind of making that sort of paradigm shift. But other than that, I mean, it fosters such an environment of just everybody helps.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody helps out wherever they can identify a
that.
place to help. You know, it's great.
What other kind of benefits do you guys? It seems to be something that people are talking a lot more about in restaurants these days. It's just trying to come up with good, creative, meaningful benefits for staff.
So, excuse me. So all of our employees get 1 free shift drink, and then, you know, after that everything is 50% off. So staff meal 50% off. If they're not working, they want to come in here with their friends, they get 20% discount.
We're planning hopefully sometime soon when it's a little warmer, like a staff appreciation trip to a Rockies game. Like
Nice.
Yeah, just like pick up, you know, scoop up a bunch of Rock Pile tickets and, you know, take a bus down there. And
then we had a 1-year anniversary party where, you know, Abby and her mom made a lot of food. And, you know, we, you know, not like open bar, but like beer you know,
Yeah.
and you know, apple pie shots for everyone kind of, but it was a 5-hour let's get together, and you know, we closed the place down. And you know, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is, like, I pretty much hire everybody, and I don't want to hire you unless I feel like we're gonna be friends. You're gonna hug me, you're gonna hug our guests, other staff members.
Yeah.
You know, I want people that I feel love coming from them, because this is supposed to be a fun environment. You're supposed to care about the people that you're around, you know. So I feel blessed that we found the people that we have. You know, they don't want to leave, and we don't want them to leave.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yep. Love it. Yeah, you've cracked the code. I mean, if you got people that have been here that long already, that's amazing. Especially with a new place. I mean, that's
And
so much turnover.
It was tough. The first few months, there's no going around it. It was tough. You know, I would day in and day out. You know, it was, you know, we had code restrictions, and it was middle of January, and we were been open for maybe 6 weeks, and it felt like every day, like lunch, especially on weekdays, we wouldn't see a soul, and I would just be standing around like, promise it'll get better, guys. It's gonna get better. And I know I was just talking out loud to myself. But we made it through, you know, and it was tough. Like, but one thing that I'm just really, really thrilled to be able to say is that every single week since the day we opened, we've been able to pay our staff what we owe, you know, what they earned, what we owe them, and we made it through. And now their paychecks with the tip share and how well we're doing and how much we learned about scheduling, they're making easily $8 to $10 an hour more than they were when we first.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah. For sure. So the people who stuck with us through that tough time, like, bless their souls, and I do not mean that in the ironic Southern sense. Like, those people are true.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, bless your heart. Yeah. No,
those people are like just
godsends.
Really, absolutely.
It is an amazing industry full of amazing people, and that's why I love doing this. I love hanging out with y'all. I love being in places like this that are, you know, built by people with a dream and a passion and a love for what they do, and took a risk and work hard and care about their staff and care about their customers and care about the community, and there's just nothing better. And I mean, I learned that through doing what we do for 16 years. I did not have nothing close to the level of appreciation for independent restaurants when we started in 2007. I mean, I thought I was going to be flying around like selling long contracts to big chains, and we realized, like, we don't have the technology, like, we don't want to do what it's going to take to serve them. When we started serving independents, and we started doing, and that's where this came about. I mean, Dave was one of the first owners I interviewed for that book years ago, 2010. I was like, God, this guy is like street smart, business smart, good heart, great dude, real wise. Like, wow, what a freaking badass. And then Scott Maitland at Top of the Hill at Chapel Hill. I'm like, holy, these are like incredible people. I love
like salt of the earth, but
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So it made me like really, really appreciate what independent restaurants do, how important they are for the communities that they're in. And I don't think most people didn't really realize that much, like, until COVID. And COVID was a big wake-up call for a lot of people, because, like, holy crap, all my favorite restaurants are closed down. Like, what do? We don't want to be closed forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got a little bit more of appreciation for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like, y'all are in this big walkable, pedestrian, outdoor mall area, and there's a lot of corporate franchise-type places, which is fine. But people are always looking, you know, when they're in a community, they're like, where are the cool local places? And y'all, what you do is what makes up great. I mean, you know, like, when you, like, why is Charleston a great city? Like, ask anybody that, one of the first 3 or 4 things that they're going to say is like, well, they got all these freaking awesome restaurants.
It's like there's no chains.
It's right next to the ocean.
Yeah, like, great restaurants are what, like, they're the lifeblood of any great community. And, I believe that. I believe that so firmly now. I did not know that or realize that or understand that years ago, and I believe that very passionately now.
I agree. The amount of people that Abby and I have met and meet on a daily basis that keep coming in here because they want to support Abby and I. They see our vision, and they see we're not, full of crap. What we're trying to present to them is honest.
Yeah.
It's, healthy.
And it comes from the heart.
Yeah. I mean, you would be amazed to know how much money we did in food last year in sales, and then see our freezer. Because it's a two-door stand-up. It's not a big walk-in.
Yeah.
Fries and ice cream. That's what's in that freezer.
That's it.
So it, from the heart, from freezer all the way to the front door, or fridge, all the way to the front door, we're giving it our all. And the people we meet, they recognize it. They want to keep coming back. They bring their friends. And I actually like being in a mall full of chain restaurants, because then to hear people say, like, I'm really glad you're here.
Yeah, you stand out.
Yeah,
right.
we do. We really do.
Absolutely. No.
What was it a few weeks ago? There was a group who came in, I think, for the first time with like 5 people. And then the next day they came in with 12. And then the next day they
19.
With like 19.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It was their first time. And they came in on a Friday and with a group of 5. Yeah. And then
Saturday and then Sunday, yeah. Oh.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. It's like, thank you. Like, this is really cool. And like, oh, well, we'll see you in a year when we come back. But thanks for the 3 days.
Wow.
So
it's amazing. It's amazing. Well, y'all, you've built an amazing place, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to hang out with y'all and do this.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate meeting you.
It's a lot of fun. And thanks for the business. We appreciate it.
Thank you for
Yeah.
We're thrilled to be using it. It's, I mean, it saves.
I'm thrilled to be using it.
Saves Shawn plenty of headaches. Hey, I do. Would you rather do payroll? I don't think so.
We're talking about Schedule Fly right now.
I like that shirt, the facilitator.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I decided to put on my business card. Abby's is face of the franchise.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, we
That's
want to
so
get
cool.
serious about owner. Like, that's just.
I
There's a
got
million of those out there, so.
Yeah.
I got to get, okay, I don't want to forget, I want one of your stickers on my laptop.
100%.
I got to get a sticker because I'll forget. So
I won't.
And,
As soon as I drop this mic, I'll go get it.
Let's do it. We'll make this a wrap. Thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
More episodes coming soon. See you.